All right guys, I got my guy Bandy in the chair. You've seen him on the channel before. We're gonna do kind of a disconnected at the front, longest length in the front, connected in the back, slick back where he can wear it either direction. We're gonna do a super low bald fade with some nice weight on the sides. So let's hop right into this cut. All right, we're gonna get his hair saturated. We'll get it sectioned all out of the way, and then we can come in and start on our scissor work. All right, guys, we're gonna use our comb to find his occipital. You can see where the comb comes off the head. We're gonna take the weight. He likes that low weight line with some length. We're gonna take it all the way down. We're gonna cut our line in. We'll work that towards both sides and determine our length on the sides and give us a nice perimeter all the way around to start off with. All right, so same thing on the sides, guys. You can see when we take the comb and pivot it, we can see that the weight line needs to go about right here. That's the private ridge. I'm gonna start above the ear. That's the widest point. Take it down. My fingers are against the head. We're gonna cut that line in. Take it straight up to the front. Kind of double check as I come back. Go ahead and clean it up, working my way back. And once we get towards the back, we will connect into that first guideline that we started with. So you should be able to see back here where I've already cut. There's that and my fingers right there. Just tie those two together. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. We can move on to the top. All right, guys, I got a new Illusion smock, all white, so you guys can see what I'm doing. We're gonna go ahead and part the hair straight down the middle, take it to both sides and connect it in, and then we'll take the last little panel on top and clean it up. I'm gonna show you guys what I was talking about when I talked about disconnecting the front and connecting the rest. All right, guys, so we have all the hair on top pulled over to each side. Now I'm gonna pull it straight out towards my chest. You guys can see underneath there's a guide. And we're gonna tie this in, working up towards the ear. When we get to the ear, we're gonna make sure that we tilt out or pivot out a little bit to make sure that we leave some length. And he doesn't have a ton of length on this side because it has been connected over here. So we're gonna have to kind of deal with what we already have and then kind of make a decision on the other side. But basically, once I get to the ear, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this hair and see where it's at. And you guys can see it's pretty much in line with this cut. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut that line in. You can see when I pull it out, it's already fallen out. So we're not gonna take much more off of the front. There's not really anything to take off. You can see it's already in that line. So now we'll go to the other side, and that's what we're gonna have to make match this length right here. And then everything back here is gonna tie in, and our longest point right here will come up and over and lay in nice. All right, so same thing on the other side. We're gonna pull this out straight towards my chest, and you guys can see when I pull this up, you can see where the guide is. Cut that in. Keep working up. Once we get to the ear, we will pivot and we'll check that when we get there. Same thing, find the guide. One more section to the ear. I'm gonna take about half of this section off. Again, pull it up. Our guide is back. I'm actually past it. There's the guide. Take it to about there. Now I want to come here and look. You guys can see, different than the other side, we have all this length right here. We do want to tie it in a little bit, but we also don't want to take off too much. So I'm going to kind of find my shortest length at the front, and we're going to cut that line in right there. So we'll just start to pivot out, and I'm just going to kind of cut it at an angle towards the front to that shortest length that we had. And it is going to still be slightly disconnected here. You guys can see the line. Let me turn him a little bit. You guys can see the line here. What that's gonna do is when we go back up and over, it's gonna give that front some length to lay all the way back to here. All right, guys, so we took it down the middle, we took it to each side and set our length on the sides. Now what we have to do is just take a section, we'll pull it straight up. And you guys should see where the hair falls out on both sides. There's our length here, there's our length there. Take it straight across. And we were just discussing, he has some hair in the back that wants to fall out the opposite direction. So this is gonna make sure that it ties in when it comes back this way and everything lays in nice. So we'll just continue to work from the back to the front. And what's cool about how we do this, guys, is because we over directed in the front, when we get to the front, it's gonna naturally be longer, our guide here on the side, and we will just basically follow our guide as we go. There's the shortest spot right there. Straight across, comb it back out of the way. Next panel. Now we'll work all the way from back to front, and then we will go on to a loose style and start on the sides. All right guys, we're just gonna do a loose blow dry to get everything flowing back, and then we can come in and do our clipper work. All right guys, we're gonna do a super low fade. So just starting our bald line around the ear at the first sign of hair. Basically gonna operate just like a taper pretty much. Pretty dropped in the back. We want to follow kind of where that weight line went. We'll just punch it in. Pretty much going to be like a taper without a line around the ears, more or less. So punching in the guideline. And he does not like a shaver bald fade. We haven't actually done a bald fade in a while. He sent me a picture the other day and liked one. So we'll just bald it out with a trimmer. I'm going to go ahead and bald out with something a little bit sharper so it is a little bit shorter. And then we'll start our first step of the fade. All right, so we're gonna come in lever open, about a 1/2 inch guideline here. These are the influencer editions that I customized. If you guys didn't see that video, you gotta check it out. These things are super sick. These are the Nicole Renee edition, but I made my own lids. So these are tomb green. We're just gonna set our open guideline, and then we'll start to take that line out from the bottom. All right, so now clipper all the way closed. We'll start to take the line out, and he's got that little light blonde hair, super easy to blend. So not gonna be too difficult here. Closed at the bottom, halfway open in the middle, and we set the line in with it all the way open. So not too much work to do here. All right, next step, one guard all the way open. And again, guys, another 1/2 inch up. We'll set this guideline in, and then we're gonna work our way up and go ahead and connect to everything above before we take this last guideline out. All right, so now we wanna play it safe because we got all this weight at the top that we wanna leave. So I'm coming in with the number 4. We're just gonna kind of try to come out off the shape of the head into that length on top. Make sure that we leave the length that we cut. We cut all that on purpose. So we need that length to lay back, and we just wanna get it to a 4 underneath, and then we'll continue to work down and take this line out, working our way back down to that open one that we just did. So that was a 4, now number 3. All right guys, now a number 2 all the way closed. And we did the 4, then we went right into the 4 with a 3, and now we're going right into the 3 with a 2. So we're just fading down, and the only line we should have left is above the open 1, and that will come out with the 1.5. Now the 1.5 halfway open is the sweet spot, guys, between the open 1 and the 2 closed. So we're just gonna come through that, and you guys can see this blend is coming together. And again, he has that light brown, dark blonde, whatever you wanna call it. Kind of easy to blend. So you can barely see that last line that I was talking about from the beginning, but we will come in after this with the 1 closed and take that last line out. You guys can see we got a nice transition here. Lots of length on top, so he can still get that finished style that he likes. It's gonna be a nice bald fade. So now, just to be safe, I'm gonna come back in with my 1 open right underneath where we did the 1.5, and we'll just continue to work down. So this might not cut anything, but I'm gonna make sure that the 1 open doesn't cut anything. Now I can close it up, and you can hear that cutting. So now we're working on that last line between the open section and the open 1, and then we will come in with the half guard. That will be the last thing that we need to tie all this all the way together. Now half guard, halfway open. Again, that's gonna be the sweet spot between the open clipper and the 1 closed. No matter what we do with the 1 closed, there's gonna be a gap there. It's going to be a couple dark spots. You can get it pretty consistent. You guys can see, like I said, his hair is a little easier to blend, but definitely on dark hair, you're still going to see that. So the half guard is that perfect spot right in between. And you can see that tied everything together, and we're basically done with this side. Now just a slight lineup on the C-cup, taking off as little as possible. Give him a nice sharp C-cup right here. And the downfall of the light blonde or the light brown hair is you don't really get a super sharp lineup. So we may throw a little bit of fibers on there just to make it a little sharper. You guys can probably barely see what I'm lining up. But we'll get this lined up. We'll go ahead and do the other side and finish up with the back. All right, so same steps on this side, bald line as low as possible. We will follow along the same steps as we did on the other side, on this side and the back. When we're done with that, we'll move on to our final style and get him all the way together. All right guys, we added a little bit of Statement grooming spray, and now we're gonna come in and do the final blow dry. Now we're gonna add a little Tomb45 Indestructible clay. Just a small amount, doesn't take a whole lot. And just wanna run our fingers loosely through it. We already have it blow dried, so we need a little help on the sides to get this to lay down. Get kind of a loose finger style, and I may come back in a minute with my wide tooth comb and give it that final look, but we're just gonna kind of disperse this evenly. And we can even come in and hit it with a cold shot as well if we want to lock everything in. All right guys, so dryer with the diffuser, just because I don't want to blow the hair around. We have my OP comb. We're going to use cold air and lock this finished style in. All right guys, that is it for the cut. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Kind of a low fade, pompadour on top, nice length on top. We got it blended in a lot better for him. You guys can see from the ear back on this side, it can just kind of lay natural. That's something he was having a problem with. So it's gonna lay a lot better for him. Nice skin fade on the sides, left some length on top. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys think of this cut. If you guys want to check out another Pompadour tutorial, click right there and make sure you guys check that one out.